The next powerful feature of robot framework is arguments. What is an argument? Let me give a use case. For this arithmetic operations keyword, we are using variable 1 and variable 2 which are constant. That means we are just taking it from the variables and always these values are going to be same. In the real-time scenario, this won't be the case. In the real-time scenario, the user might want to send two variables and he want to add or multiply those two variables. All the test cases are not going to use the same variables. In this case, we might need to pass these variables from the test case into the keyword. So the keyword should be accepting these two variables. How we can do that? If you already have some experience with any other programming language, you might know the functions will accept arguments. Same way, the keywords in robot framework will accept arguments. Arguments are nothing but the values the keywords will accept and it is going to perform some operation on it. So the value will be sent by the calling test case, the test case which is calling the keyword. Now what is the syntax to define the argument? It is simple. In the first line after the name of the keyword, you have to give the indentation. You have to provide square bracket arguments. Just clicking on A, it's showing arguments. That's it. You are giving the arguments. And what are the arguments this keyword is going to accept? Let me provide argument 1 and argument 2. Let me change the variable names as well. You can give any name to these arguments. It is same syntax as the variables. This is called a positional argument, which is a scalar variable which is going to accept only one value. Now the keyword is accepting two positional arguments. So you have to pass from the calling test case these values or else it will fail because it is expecting these two values. Let me pass 1 and 2. For this test case, we will pass a different value, 3 and 4. Going forward, what I will do, I will just quickly fast forward the running the test case and refreshing the page because you don't have to wait till this run and complete and I have to refresh the page and all. I will just show what is the result is. So you can see here, the first test case is accepting 1 and 2 as the value. If you go into the result, you can see addition is 3, multiplication is 2, division is 0.5 and so on. Similarly, the second test case, it is accepting the values 3 and 4, the same keyword, but it is accepting different values. If you open it, you can see here, the results are 7, 12, 0.75 and -1. So this way, your keyword becomes more powerful. Dynamically, you can change the value and the keyword will perform the action on that particular argument or the particular variable. The argument is nothing but a variable. This is called positional argument. Next is when you want to provide a default value to this argument. For example, you expect these arguments to be passed sometimes, but in some cases, the test case might not pass these arguments. Then you can provide the default value. For example, let me give a default value only for the argument 2. Argument 2 equal to, I am providing value as 2. So whenever the value is passed for argument 2, that value will be taken. If the value is not passed, then default value will be 2. Just make sure there is no space between this equal to sign and the value or the variable, because if you are providing a space between the equal to sign and the value, then the space will also be taken as the value. So always provide without space. In this example, I am going to pass the value as 4, but here I am not going to pass any value for the argument 2. Let's run it. You can see in the first test case, the arithmetic operation 1 and 4. The value we are passing as 4, so the keyword is using that value. But in the test case 2, we are not passing any value for the argument 2. Only we are passing argument 1 as 3. So if you see, the value taken for argument 2 is 2. That is the default value. So the addition is 5, the multiplication is 6 and so on. So in this way, you can provide a default value to the arguments as well. Passing the values directly like this without specifying any name is called positional arguments. Based on the position, the keyword understand this 3 is argument 1. But when you want to specify exactly what this value is it argument 1 or argument 2, then you can use it as a named argument. That is, you can specify argument 1 equal to 3 Notice that I am not specifying any dollar or curly braces. Just I am mentioning argument 1 is equal to 3 and argument 2 equal to 5. So this is also possible. As I mentioned, when you want to specify exactly which argument holds which value so that it is more clear for understanding, then you can mention the name as well. So you can see here argument 1 is passed as 3, argument 2 is passed as 5. This is just for more understanding. Your logs will be more understanding for the user who is looking at it as well. Okay, one more feature is if you don't want to specify the exactly number of arguments you are expecting. For example, sometimes the test case may pass only one argument. Sometimes the test case might pass more than 1, 2, 3, 4 arguments. Then how you can specify it? Simple. You can specify it as a list varying argument. We know the syntax for list is at curly brace. I will specify variable argument because the number of arguments we don't know. It might vary. So I am just specifying it. Logging that as well. You know, when we are referring the value, we need to specify dollar for the list as well. Now in the first test case, we are not passing any value for the list varying argument. But in the second test case, I am going to pass two values. You can see in the first test case, we are not passing any argument for the list, that is the varying argument. So it is showing it is empty. But in the second test case, 3 and 4 are argument 1 and 2. 6 and 7 are the varying arguments. If you see, 6 and 7 are taken as the variable argument. This is a powerful feature when you are creating a complex automation frameworks. Going forward, we will look into an use case of where this will be applicable as well.